Our final stop of the 2021 Halloween Haunt season is the Scarehouse, Pittsburgh Mills Mall, Tarentum, PA. This is 2021 Halloween Haunt stop number 10, and Tom was here. Hello out there, wherever you are. As for me, well, I'm at Pittsburgh Mills Mall, Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and we are here at 2021 Halloween Haunt stop number 10, the Scarehouse. Now, I had actually never been to the Scarehouse before. As I mentioned in previous haunt videos and things like that, I'm very much a blank slate when it comes to these haunted attractions. I have not been to, prior to this year, I had not been to too many. And I had never been to the Scarehouse. And I knew it was one of those ones that I had to go to because when people talk about Pittsburgh haunts, the Scarehouse always comes up. So I had reached out to the Scarehouse a few different times this year. I reached out in August. I reached out at the end of September. I reached out, I believe, in October. And they're doing it the night or the weekend after Halloween. So the weekend after Halloween, and they're saying, it's one last weekend for the Scarehouse. And I'm like, all right, let's give it a Hail Mary effort and reach out again. And actually got a response. They said, come out. Come check it out. So I'm not sure what to expect. Not sure what we're going to get into. But let's go check out, for as much as we can, the sights and the sounds of the Scarehouse. Let's go. Okay, let's jump right into the Scarehouse. Now, when you walk into the mall, the queue line is actually set up next to the sad graveyard that is the Pittsburgh Mills food court. And there's a scare actor and a few displays, but really it's about the haunt itself. It's 3 separate haunted attractions, but one continuous walkthrough. You have a classic-style haunted house where they give you a flashlight. Second one's kind of like an 80s rave, but then there's a clown section, and the third section is the zombie apocalypse. Now, Scott and the team at Scarehouse were very kind to let us walk through the RIP line and go through all 3 attractions first, and then I was able to go back in with Heather, who I believe is the event coordinator at the Scarehouse, and she actually took my other camera, and we filmed the first haunt for you guys to check out. So let's go check that out now.
Over here, put some demer permanent on your Johnson and shed, please. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's what he said the first time.
Which one of you is feeling super brave tonight?
I am.
Awesome. Go ahead and grab that flashlight for me, please. Thank you. So before we go inside, my spooky friends have some special rules they've given unto me, which I now convey unto you, so we can all have a good time in the haunt, okay? Rule number 1, use that flashlight, shine it all around the rooms, high, low, everywhere you go. Shine it at things that look like people, shine it at things that don't look like people, because my friends are hiding everywhere. If they come out, if they see that light, they will come out, they'll say hi, and they'll play with you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Rule 1.5, hoodies have to stay down. I think I recognize you, so I think you already know that part.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, indeed. Moving on back onto rule number 2 as a review for you. Don't touch anything in the haunt. If you touch it, it will touch you back. You will get possessed. You will have a bad time. I've already checked UPMC, AHINet, and I have no exorcist in their network, so it's completely out of pocket.
Unacceptable.
Yeah. Rule number 3, cell phones, vapes, other electronics. If you have these items, put them in your pockets now. Silence or turned off as preferred, and keep them there. If a cell phone or vape is being used in the haunt, everyone around you has a bad time. Hold the mood, you're total buzzkill, and you're super lame. Cool?
Well, except for the super lame part of this.
Or just don't be super lame then.
I'll try not to.
Okay, I'd super appreciate it. So would I.
Okay.
All right, I'll keep going. Enjoy, folks.
Alright, well, you have the flashlight, so you'll lead the way here.
playhouse. Put the camera away.
Yes, sir.
Do you really want her to see me? You think she'll think about you then?
That's awesome. Oh, wow. Stuck up behind.
Let's play hide and seek! You've got to become free! 3, 2, 1! Here I come! I found you!
Oh, I know you're alive. Oh, wow.
And what do I have here? You have something I want. Give me that phone.
So a big thank you to Scott and the rest of the cast and the crew at the Scarehouse. Had a great time there. They were very kind to actually put us through the VIP line, or the RIP line, I guess you could say, for the first walkthrough. And that was very, very kind of them to do so. And, we walked through the experience and had an awesome time. And then Todd and his kids had to bail out. And so then I walked through the first haunt again and was able to film. And it was cool walking through the second time to capture different things that I didn't experience on the first walkthrough. I thought that was a very unique element exclusive to Scarehouse. And I really, really thought it was pretty well done. I get why they have the reputation of being their premier haunt in the area. I get why they get that hype there. It's because that they have a nice level of immersion in some of these things, where some of the detail is really, really well done. Where some of the character designs and some of the themes and some of the things that you're walking through are so fleshed out that you can see why you kind of lose yourself in this haunt, where it's like you're not walking through a mall, you're walking through an old house, or you're walking through an 80s rave, or you're walking through a zombie apocalypse, and you don't even think about the fact that you're in the middle of Pittsburgh Mills Mall. If you're familiar with the Pittsburgh area, Pittsburgh Mills was this grand mall that they built that kind of like, I don't know, it's weird. I don't even know if it's 10 years old. I can't remember how long Pittsburgh Mills has been here, but it's like kind of a dying mall. Like if from people familiar with the area, it's like what Century 3 was a few years back, where like there are some stores in there, like legitimate stores, but it's just there's a lot of empty storefronts and stuff. So the Scarehouse was able to move from Etna. And I've always heard that, unsolicited, when people talk about haunted houses, they always talk about the Scarehouse. And they always bring up like, well, it's not as good as it used to be in Etna. Well, I hadn't been to the one in Etna, so I can't speak for, is it better? Is it worse? Is it indifferent? But I did want to check it out. And it seems like this is the Scarehouse's permanent setup, for the near future. And, and hopefully Pittsburgh Mills Mall will keep it going for a few years. But yeah, the Pittsburgh Mills Mall is a sad monster of a walkthrough. They don't even have a food court anymore. The theater, which used to be an AMC theater, got bought up by someone, and they apparently closed super early. They have like a mega church. I think it's a church, something like that, or like a large gym in taking up some of the residency here. So it's definitely changed from kind of the monolith of consumerism, I guess you could say, that it used to be a few years back. But yeah, it'd be funny, like, if the Scarehouse wanted to pick a mall to truly immerse you in terrifying nature, they should have picked Century 3. I don't know if you saw any pictures of that sad monster that have been making the rounds. But yeah, imagine they put the Scarehouse in the middle of Century 3 Mall, and you walked into that like there was one, instead of like a boarded up, they just removed one board and you just walked right in and you were in the Scarehouse. That would be something to behold. But the Pittsburgh Mill, but it's cool to see what they, that the Scarehouse is in there. I think that brings a unique element to this mall. What other mall has a haunted house inside? None that I'm familiar with. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they end up moving to another location, or if they make Pittsburgh Mills their home. It seems like, in talking with Scott there, that it seems like Pittsburgh Mills is going to be their home for a while, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the place in the next few years, if they maybe expand to other storefronts. So it'll be interesting to see kind of the evolution of the Scarehouse. Okay, so let's talk about the Scarehouse. Scarehouse is divided into kind of three. It's a continuous walkthrough with three separate haunts associated with it. The first one is kind of like the classic haunted house vibe, I guess you could say. What's interesting touch is that they give you a flashlight to walk through. Now, what was cool about the Scarehouse, and something I didn't experience at any other haunts in the area, is that they had us go through the first time just as like, just as we were going through the haunt. So it was a cool experience to kind of get like the vibe of it. The only bummer of a downside of walking through that haunt is we might have been stuck behind the slowest people that I've ever walked through a haunted house with. There was a couple other haunts where we kind of ran into this, where people will come to a dead stop. I'm not asking you to run through it. By absolutely, it's your dollar. Take everything in that you could possibly take in. What I will say is this, is I expect a Scooby-Doo casual walk through a haunted house. I don't want you to run. And I'm not setting the rules. I'm just saying you don't have to run. You don't have to walk really fast. You can even walk really slow if you want. But don't stop every time you walk into it. These people were, I don't know what they were doing, but they were stopping. Like right before, like in every room, we were stopping. So it was hard to get into that like natural flow, but it was still an awesome walkthrough. When we went through the first haunted house, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And the flashlight that they give you was a nice touch, that I really, I'm sure other haunts have used in the area, but we didn't get to one this year that used the flashlight where you're kind of like showing it around, and kind of looking for something. And while you're looking for something can easily pop up because you're focused on what you're pointing at with the flashlight. That's a solid idea. A very, very good idea. There were some very cool elements in the first haunt that I really dug. Some unique animatronics, some unique things. And I found out after the second walkthrough that they're motion based, or they're light based, so that when you shine the flashlight on certain things, they turn on because they see the light. That's a really, really cool idea. So that's definitely something that, I hadn't seen before, and I thought was really good. My favorite non-scare element of it was in the house. There was a portion where like the floor kind of moved under your feet, but it wasn't like moving on its own. It was almost one of those things where like when you stepped on it, it would move around. And I I actually saw like kind of like a crease open, and I saw like golf balls under there. And I was like, oh, that is a cool, unique idea where like you step on it and like the balls roll, but they're controlled. So they're controlled by the tiles. So you can't like, unless you're really clumsy, like you can't fall off. But it was one of those things where it was like, that's a unique touch that you hadn't considered. But really like the animatronics, the makeup. There were certain makeup characters that I weren't sure if they were real people or if they were like a dummy laying there. So I wasn't sure what to make of some of these characters. But some of them were alive and just hadn't moved, and some of them were, just waited for the right moment. There were a couple that really waited a long time where you almost expected them to, like, maybe this person's like a dummy, maybe this person, oh, they're a real person. It's one of those things. Okay, so you see in the walkthrough, and thankfully, they had Heather go through. Heather is one of the, I believe, the event coordinator. I don't know if I want to butcher her title, but Heather actually was kind enough to actually walk with me. As my friend Todd bailed on me. Now, in his defense, he did come out with his kids, and his kids are in college. They don't want to hang around, talk haunted houses and stuff. So he did have to bail out, but yeah, Heather was kind enough to walk through the haunt with me, the first haunt. So you see that haunt from two different perspectives. She's holding the flashlight, so it's my perspective behind her, and then it's her perspective of just like the standard like POV perspective of the haunt. I had a blast walking through that one. Really dug the varying cool, interesting touches that I had never seen in any other haunted house before. The scare actors in there were very, very good. There were some interesting ones that it's interesting when you walk through a haunted house a second time. I only experienced this one time this season, and Scarehouse is the second. We actually went through a haunted house twice. I went through Moundsville Penitentiary this season twice, and now I went through the Scarehouse twice. Moundsville was a couple weeks apart. Scarehouse was on the same night. But even on the same night, there were different experiences that I didn't catch the first time around that I saw the second time around, which was really cool and unique. It does require repeat walkthroughs, I feel. So one time ain't gonna do it for the Scarehouse. It's definitely one of those you gotta walk through again to see what you catch. But all in all, I thought that first haunt was awesome. I hope you liked it. Let me know your thoughts on it. If you went to the Scarehouse, what your favorite part of the Scarehouse is. Truth be told, the part that I filmed, even though I dug it, was not my favorite portion of the haunt, and I will get into that later. Okay, so haunt number 2, I'm not sure if these haunts have, like, names, as much as it's kind of, like, themed, but it was themed like a 80s style rave kind of strange thing. I'm not sure how to describe it, because there's almost like a hodgepodge of ideas that went through there, but did like the rave kind of vibe with the lighted, red neon hallways was really cool. A couple other interesting characters in there. Also, I think in that second haunt, which I assume because it wasn't really themed to anything else, was probably the best scare of the night. The scare that got me more is there was a mirror maze, and you walked in, and so it was the maze of mirrors, and then there's a clown in there, and I saw him like side of the eye. I saw him kind of like lurking around, but I was looking in the mirrors, and I swear I thought what I saw was a mirror, but it was not a mirror. It was the clown, and he went right into my face. And I was like, I was like, well, I did like a more than a startle, like a taken aback. I didn't expect him to pop right out in front of my face. But that was really, really good. But yeah, that second haunt area is interesting. I definitely dug some of the theming and the characters in there. But it was definitely like, and I think it was described by Scott as kind of like an experimental haunt. But I dug it. I thought it was really good. But yeah, it's just like an interesting, different theme that I had not experienced at any other haunt before. But I really liked it. I liked it a lot. Okay, so haunt number 3, or the third haunt, the final haunt, I guess you could say, of the experience was like a Pittsburgh. I mean, look, they're in a mall. We're in Pittsburgh. If you are having a haunted house in a mall in Pittsburgh and you don't get zombies going out of there, what are you doing? You have the opportunity. So it's definitely something that it was cool to see that they do like a Pittsburgh kind of like zombie but it was like a apocalypse setting, and the vibe and the theming in this one were really, really good. I mean, I really like the theming of the first one. Well, actually, of all of them, really, but this last one especially, really kind of well themed, where you're kind of like immersed into this. And I talk a lot about immersion on the channel, where just if you feel like you're in kind of a zombie apocalypse, you're walking through, say, like The Walking Dead or whatever, something like that, you feel that in here. You definitely had that vibe where when I walked through, I felt that I was in this situation just for a split second, but that's enough, because you're not in a mall anymore. A lot of people, I think, were griping about Pittsburgh Mills being in the mall, but it is an odd thing when you walk out of the haunt and you're staring at a Bath and Body Works or Claire's. It's an interesting, weird thing, but I really liked the theming and the stuff that they put into this haunt. The one thing I can say is there's a lot of things that, even with one walkthrough of this third section, that I probably wouldn't have caught if it wasn't for this slow group. So maybe it was a benefit that there was a slow group in front of us, because sometimes we were in a stop and I was looking around and you'd see things that you didn't expect to see on the floor or on the ceiling or hanging or, just kind of poking out of a wall. There were some nice elements to this haunt that I really, really dug, and the zombie vibe. I also do like the little Easter eggs that they had thrown in there. I did see they had the Silver Shamrock novelties, a nice Halloween 3 sign on the wall. There was a cool Pittsburgh Penguins banner. For some reason, that sad monster of banner that was there almost like immersed me into the zombie environment more, where I felt like, I don't know why it was, but seeing that old Penn's Cup banner, and it's like, if there was a zombie apocalypse and you were walking through like a random house or whatever, and that thing was hanging there, I wouldn't be, you know what I mean? I don't know why that affected me a certain way when I saw it. I was like, yeah, I would probably be hanging on someone's wall. Really dug the zombie layout, the zombie element to it. I thought it was next level done. I thought it was done really good, and I thought it was something that that they could expand more on, that they could definitely do more with. You know, as much as I wanted it to be, it would be cool if you had like almost like a laser tag zombies or something. Probably and I could be wrong here because the house is pretty good too. But maybe the zombies were maybe the most immersive section. I could be wrong there. I'd have to think about it. But you know, just in just coming out and kind of going through there, I did like the flashlight element. I did like the zombie element to it. I thought that the second one was very cool. You know, I would say, as sad as it is, it wasn't my favorite of the three, but it gave me the biggest scare of the three. It's definitely something that I would, you know, come out for their future events. I would like to check out they're doing like a Christmas one. Well, that'll wrap it up for the Scarehouse, Pittsburgh Mills, Tarentum, PA. Very, very cool. You know, it's interesting. I've heard so much. You hear so much. Inevitably, when you talk about Pittsburgh haunts, the name always comes up. And they're one of these places that gets a lot of, you know, you hear people like Elijah Wood was commenting about the Scarehouse, or Guillermo del Toro, or David Koechner go through, and I think they had Danny Trejo go through one of these times, if I remember correctly. So there's definitely a lot of hype that went into this Scarehouse. So like I said, I wasn't sure what I was going to get into in there. I was really impressed with some of the details of this haunt. I was really impressed with this haunt. It's not as long as, say, other haunts we've been to, but I do feel they make up for that in quality. You know, there's some interesting, unique things that I saw in this haunt that I've not seen in any other haunts. You know, I've been to 10 of these now, and every one brought something different and unique to the table. And, you know, I kind of am bummed out that it took me so long to get the Scarehouse. Because I knew it was one that I wanted to get to for a long time, and I'm glad I was able to get there. Had a great conversation with Scott, who I believe is the general manager, or I don't want to butcher his title, but we had a really good long conversation, very knowledgeable about things, kind of told us some of the perils that it went through just to get them in to the Pittsburgh Mills, and yeah, just kind of like the hoops that they jumped through to get in there. So it's definitely one to check out. Definitely one of the better ones in the Pittsburgh area. I dug it. I had a great time. And even though it was, you know, the weekend after Halloween, it still felt, you know, they felt like, I didn't feel like any noticeable down spots. Like they had a full cast. At least it felt like a full cast. Of course, I can't speak for, you know, going through it in years past because I never did. I thought it was a great experience overall. I dug it. I had a great time at this haunt. We talk a lot about immersion. I talk a lot about immersion on this channel, and, you know, it's something that definitely doesn't happen everywhere. So when you feel it, it's that much better. But yeah, it was an awesome experience walking through this haunt. Thanks to Scott, and as well as Heather. Heather kind of does the, I believe, like, called her, and I'm gonna butcher these titles, but the like event coordinator or something like that. But she designed some of the features and some of the set pieces that were in the haunt. But she was kind enough to actually film with my alternate camera some of the haunt as well. So when you see it, you'll have seen it from two different perspectives. the best that I could get with my camera and her alternate version, because she actually had the flashlight with the phone as well. But very, very cool. Thank you to Scott and Heather and the cast and crew of Scarehouse. I really had a great time walking through here, and I kind of regret that I hadn't gone here in years past. I've always heard that hype, and there's a concern about hype where sometimes hype, kind of like when you're, kind of over anticipating something, sometimes it doesn't deliver. But I felt it delivered the goods here tonight. That'll wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. If you were new here, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to support me on Patreon like John Bailey did, you can do so. Link is in the description below. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt, oh look, I just washed it for these special occasions. A TomWasHere t-shirt or sweatshirt or a long sleeve shirt or whatever you like. I think I actually have a sale going on in the store. I have no control over any of those things, but you can do so at Spreadshirt, as well as links to my eBay store, Facebook page, Instagram, and Clubhouse. But when it comes to the Scarehouse for 2021 and for all time, because I've never been before, I can now say that my name is Tom and I was here. Thanks for watching, like, and subscribe, everyone.